The September 5th, 2024 Smyrna Municipal Planning Commission meeting. I will call the meeting to order. And if you'll stand with us, Mark's going to lead us in the prayer and Charles in the pledge.
Let's bow. Father in heaven, Lord, we just come to you again today to do the city's business, and we ask for your discernment and your wisdom as we process this evening. Lord, we also always ask you to watch over the citizens of our town and their health, and Father, the people that protect it and all the employees that take care of it. Go with this body tonight, be with each and every one of us as we go on about our business after this meeting, and just lead, guide, and direct us in all we do. Forgive us where we fail you. It's in your name we pray it. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Next up, we have citizens' comments. The town's public comment period shall be reserved for those citizens that have signed up to address a board or committee at least 24 hours in advance of the meeting pursuant to the town public comment policy. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Additional comments may be submitted in writing. I'm not seeing anyone signed up tonight. Okay. Then we'll move on to approval of the minutes of the August 1st, 2024 meeting. Are there any questions from the commission concerning the minutes? And I'll ask Jeff, are the meeting minutes in order?
In order as to form, Chairman.
Okay. There's nothing from the commission. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the
I
minutes.
have a motion to approve the minutes from Miranda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Couple seconds. I think that was Amy. Okay, a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes of the August 1st, 2024 meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. We're now on to old business. The first one is a rezoning request from Janet Ibrahim Nassif, Rocky Fork Road, rezoning R3 with ESO to PRD with ESO.
Yeah, this is a request that Planning Commission saw last month, and it was deferred. There were still several items to be, our staff felt like needed to be revised before Planning Commission could really act on it, and so it was deferred a month. It is still the same request. It has been requested to be rezoned to a PRD. Surrounding zoning is a mix of R3 and the addition to villages of Valley Green PUD to the south. Land use plan does designate this property as part of the 24 Gateway Character Area, which would support a mixture of uses and services that are both local and regional in scale. Hospitality, retail, restaurant, multifamily are particularly appropriate for this area. Major thoroughfare plan does designate Rocky Fork Road as a collector. The required minimum right-of-way for this road is 30 feet from the center line, and adequate right-of-way dedication has been shown on the plans. It would actually be, if this is approved, and there will be a subdivision plat in the future where that would be actually formally dedicated. This requested PRD is for 5 duplexes, so a total of 10 units on the 2.1 acres. The required minimum fire flow is 1,000 GPM at 20 PSI. If that would go up to, if the building square footage is over 3,600 feet for everything on the roof. That was kind of an informational comment for them. A sewer easement will be required to be obtained through the adjoining development to serve this development. There is no easement at that location, so they'll have to, where they're showing, they are showing an easement, but to be obtained, but it has not been obtained yet, so they have to provide that proof before a site plan could be considered. There's also a utility pole in that area as well, so they have to coordinate that with Middle Tennessee Electric. And we did ask them to show some existing service lines for those 2 existing houses. We just want to be sure that this new sewer line, if the easement is obtained, that we are consider those existing service lines as well. So those would all kind of need to remain still to be done. Really, as if this is approved and move forward with development of actual construction plans, those would all have to be shown and looked at. Number 9, the landscaping, lighting, buffering, and screening plans are required to comply with section 5.059 of the zoning ordinance, which is the Indian Springs overlay. Would be reviewed in detail with the submittal of the site plan if the rezoning is approved. So that would just, again, just an informational comment that would need to remain. We'd asked them to revise the architectural elevations to be consistent with requirements for the Indian Springs overlay. Should be a base, body, and caps. We have three kind of distinct kind of differences between, from the bottom of the building to the top. We did recommend brick or stone be added as an additional material. They did add, there is brick just on the front elevation, just at the very base. But the rest of the building is still shown as all hardy board or concrete siding. So still have a little bit of concern with what they're showing there with regards to the elevations. Comment number 11, they did change that. That can be removed. They did rotate the two buildings nearest Rocky Fork Road have been rotated to face Rocky Fork Road. So they have taken care of that comment. We did ask them to still 20-foot utility easements over public maintenance services. Again, this is something that could be done at the plat, but we did ask them to show it here. They've shown one, but there is another one. There's a new sewer line being proposed. They didn't show an easement over that sewer line, so that would still need to be corrected there. The sanitary sewer, this is again the new line that is shown connecting to the eastern and western property lines. They do show the line extending, but not going to the property line, so they still need to fix that. Comment 14 was a comment that came from our stormwater department, and I don't know that we had any kind of update on that. So they did submit revised plans. I don't know if they've looked at it since they submitted the revised plans. So we want to keep that for now, at least, until they can confirm it's been taken care of. From some of the comments at the last month, we talked about adding some parking for guests. They did add 5 parking spaces, so basically a half space per unit. They did show the mail kiosk has been added now, and they did show that the total unit size and the number of bedrooms. I think it's on the front page. Yeah, it's 3 bedrooms per unit. The total square footage of each unit is 1,989 square feet. So they did.
You said that was per unit?
Yes, that was on this. Yeah, per unit.
Is that living space?
It's shown as interior areas. I don't know if it includes the garage or not, but that would be the interior area. The footprint's 1,210 square feet, so that's including the second floor and all that. And 3 bedrooms. So they've addressed 11, 15, 16, and 17. Comment 18 was really just kind of an informational comment for them, so they were aware of what's going on. So they weren't here at the last meeting, so. I think that's all that I've got.
So they have rotated, because I noticed this, what we received in our packet's different than what we have in front of us tonight.
Right, yeah,
So those
these
first
plans
2
came in
units.
this week. Yeah.
Is the last comment, additional revisions need to be made to the architectural elevations to meet ESO as well as other revisions. Is staff comfortable with it at this point?
Yeah, the architectural elevate, I mean, a lot of our comments can be, if the zoning is approved, can be fixed at site plan. So that, like the sewer issues and the easements and those kind of things. My main concern is still with the architecture. To me, it's really not what we wanted to see in the overlay still. So it's almost all concrete siding. Just toward the back of what's in front of you there.
Yeah.
The buildings are broken up quite a bit with porches and different things, but it's just a little bit of brick at the very base, and it's only on the front of the building. So
Were they given a target to shoot for as far as percentages? I mean, how far off from the standard are we?
well, for residential, they don't have the same percentages like we do for non-residential, which we have like the 75% if it's visible and all that. So we don't have that. My recommendation was to kind of break it up with, I mean, if you have something as a base, to break it up again, but that first floor, with some stone or something else to break it up, and maybe your second floor is hardy board, concrete siding, just to something to kind of break the materials up some more, or extend brick a little further up, and maybe you know, something like that is really what I was, and doing it more on than just the front, but do the sides and rear as well. So,
Is that to meet ESO?
yes,
And as presented, this does not meet ESO.
it's not what I would recommend to you, no, sir. Yeah, we don't have that architecture.
So Kevin, at site plan, you said you can address, so this is all zoning currently.
This is zoning currently, yeah. The main, like the issues with the sewer easements and the, and that sort of thing, that's something we could look at site plan. I know the main thing from a zoning standpoint is still to be, other than, you know, obviously the use being, if you feel the use is appropriate for the area or not, that still has to be looked at. But from a procedurally, from the PRD, the main thing I'm concerned about is the architectural elevation.
And that would be addressed at a later point, not necessarily this evening? Or would that be a staff comment you would want to include?
I would, you know, I don't know, I think to me it needs to be something we look at. That's something we need to be sure we're comfortable with at zoning, either with,
Right. But
Revise-
remove the zoning for a moment, would you make that, if that were to go through tonight, would you want that to be a comment as well?
Yes.
Okay.
for sure, yeah. Either to defer to get revised elevations or to recommend approval with that being a comment of some kind.
It's still a lot of unchecked things on the to-do list here, and that's the reason we deferred it last time, as I recall.
Right. Yeah, they've taken care of several things, but there's still some things to look
Yeah.
at, for sure.
They've made progress, though.
Yeah, and as I recall, we talked about elevations in relation to the ESO here, correct?
Yes.
And we still don't have a product that meets the ESO.
Right.
Just a technical question, can we defer again?
Yeah, there's no time limit.
There's
on
no
the zoning.
number of deferrals that we can place?
There's time limits on subdivision plats, yeah, but
Yeah, this is
for zoning,
For
there's
zoning,
not.
right, okay. Just clarifying.
Do you feel like you've been clear in your communications with them?
I felt like I was, when the last, we haven't had any communication really from them that much. The engineer, he commented, well, after we sent the first round of comments, he said he would not be able to get plans to us. He had some family issues out of state and different things, and so he wasn't gonna be able to get revisions to us last week, and so we didn't get them till this week. But, I mean, there's not been any, other than that, there's not been any communication until we got the plans yesterday. I believe it was yesterday.
It seems like we're making some progress here.
Baby step.
Yeah.
Yes, there's definitely, I mean, there's definitely progress made, for sure.
I don't know about anybody else, I think my comfort level, I can hear kind of in Kevin's voice, he's not telling us what to do, but, you know, a deferral might be an order once again, just to make sure they get the house in order a little bit before we, if we were to approve it. He's having some communication issues apparently with somebody out of town right now, so I would make the motion to defer it currently, and I'll make that as a motion.
Okay. I have received the motion to defer this until the next meeting, correct?
I will second.
Okay. I have a motion to defer to the October meeting, and I have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of deferring this rezoning request signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This rezoning request has been deferred to the October meeting. We are now on to new business. Our first is a preliminary plat. The Colony at Green Tree, Ryan Hill Drive, and Skinner Drive, owner, developer, M1 Development LLC.
Yeah, this is the preliminary plat. This was a PRD that was amended a few months ago. And so this would be, is the preliminary plat for the entirety of that PRD approval. It's 113 lots, 37.93 acres. This is, would extend Ryan Hill Drive and Skinner Drive which are two existing town streets. We had several comments, which are standard comments, which would need to remain. Really, comments 1 through 7 are all standard comments. Number 8, there was several easements that are, or several lots affected by easements where they don't necessarily follow property lines. And so we'd ask them for some additional dimensions kind of from those property lines, or if they don't start at a property corner, those kind of things. And they still need, some of those still need to be looked at. We did lot 47 that's shown, but the others, we still need some additional dimensions. And we need to amend the comment to add, there's also a lot 69. And there's actually the easement on that kind of runs from lot 56 to lot 69 and through some of the open space doesn't have a label on it. It's just, there's an easement shown. I'm assuming it's a drainage easement, but there's not actually a label on it, so they need to fix that. So we'll keep that. There's also comment number 9 we need to remain. It's kind of a, this is something that's going to come most likely with the final plat, which is fine. There's an existing approved plat for Green Tree Section 1, which is an old plat from the mid-90s. They're going to have to amend some of that, some of the right-of-way there, and go through the mandatory referral process, because there's actually some right-of-way that we would no longer need, and those kind of things. So we need to keep comment number 9. Comment number 10 came from our stormwater department, and so I would want to keep that one because they haven't had any, I don't think they've had a chance to look at comments 10 or 11. Comment number 12 has been addressed and can be removed. And then comment 13 is kind of a comment that our building codes department added, just kind of an informational type comment there. This is consistent with the PRD approval. This would again connect to Woodmont as well as the Burnett Ridge development, so you're providing a lot of connectivity in those areas that are not currently connected. So from a road standpoint, I think that's all that I got.
Questions or comments?
Kevin, for it looks like Ryan Hill Drive is the kind of the main drag there right through the middle. Are those going to be 4-way stops at Millgrate and Skinner Drive or not? And if not, I guess I have a little bit of concern about that being a big, long, straight road where people like to go a little fast, so.
You know, I think we would have to, I don't know if Public Works has looked at it or not yet. I think for sure the Skinner Drive connection you would probably want, because that's going to be a connection that comes through and would eventually connect. There's one tract of land between this tract and Green Trees, that development where you eventually connect all the way through. Certainly that one and potentially the other one, the Millgrade as well. Again, that's something the Public Works has to take a look at to be sure, but
I mean, especially because the playground is right there.
yeah, it would make a lot of sense for them to be 4-way stops. You know, that's not, there's no streets in here that are, you know, major roads, collector type streets. These are just neighborhood streets, so it would make, there's not one where you would have more traffic than others probably, other than Ryan Hill, just because it would connect Green Tree Drive all the way through to that Burnett Ridge. And then again, you would, Millgrade goes into Woodmont and eventually gets you back over toward Montgomery Way in that area, so. So yeah, it would make sense for those to be 4-way stops. You know, that's something typically Public Works looks at when they review the construction plans.
Okay, and then you know, thinking back to some other PRDs that we looked at, if you look at lots 113, 29, 30, 39, 9, those are the ones just to the south of Ryan Hill Drive as it moves along. Are there going to be requirements to show different side elevations, since I would consider that the main drive through this through this development, right?
This one, yeah, this is certainly something that in the future, as things are moving along with some of our discussions, yes.
Okay.
This one was approved, under our current setup. So there wouldn't be anything like that under what we're proposing. Yeah, all those streets like 113, 29, 30, 39, 9, you're probably facing Ryan Hill Drive with side entry garages.
Okay.
But there would be no requirement for them to do that this time on this one.
Any other questions, comments?
Kevin, can you refresh me when this PRD was approved?
Oh, it's been in the past, I think it's been this year, I can't remember exactly.
Okay.
Certainly, it's been within the past 6 months or so, I think.
No big deal. I just thought you might
Yeah,
have.
I can't remember exactly though. It came in, the property directly to the south where Ryan Hill connects to, came in at the same time. That one was amended as well, and we, at the same time. So, with the same developer doing both of them.
Any other questions for Kevin? I will entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the preliminary plat with staff comments.
I have a motion to approve with staff comments. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Do we need to add, you said, something about lot 69 that wasn't listed on here?
Yeah, I mean, that was my comments. I mean,
Yes,
just,
staff comment.
yeah, I think if Mark includes that, it's, that was one of my, it was not a written comment, but it was my verbal comment, I guess. So,
But you've got that recorded for?
yeah, I've got it written down here, so it'll be
Okay.
on the minutes and everything.
Good, Amy?
Yep.
All right. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This preliminary plat is approved. We are now on to final plats. Our first item is Derby Run, Phase 2C, Horseshoe Drive and Gray Ghost Way, owner, developer, Charter Commercial LLC.
Yeah, this is the final plat for Derby Run. This is phase, as you said, Phase 2C. It's 11.29 acres, 41 lots. It's in the Derby Run PRD. We had a few comments. They're all pretty straightforward, standard comments. Rocky Fork Almaville Road is a minor arterial, and they are showing right-of-way dedication with that. And then just some standard comments regarding owner signatures and those kind of things. We do still need to keep comment 4. There's some additional, just some dimensions on one of the drainage easements on lot 330, just so we know exactly where that easement begins and ends and those kind of things, especially since it's the final plat, so it's going to get recorded. So just with those 6 remaining comments, staff would recommend approval.
Okay. Questions for Kevin concerning this final plat? Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the staff comments.
I have a motion to approve with staff comments from Amy. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Miranda. So I have a motion and a second to approve with staff comments. Any further discussion?
I'll abstain.
Okay. All those in favor of approving this final plat, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And 1 abstention. Okay. Next, we have site plans. Newberry Commons, Lot 2, 3545 Amable Road. Owner, developer, Blue Circle Ventures LLC.
This is part of the Newberry PUD. The structure for the pickleball course is to be 4,752 square feet. It will be an indoor facility for the residents of this development. The building is shown to have 2 courts inside with a waiting area, vending space, storage room, and restrooms. The building is shown to be located in the southeast corner of the development adjacent to the future commercial development. Access would be provided through the commercial property as well as an access point off of the proposed Bunor Drive. Vehicular use area of the site, 10,475 square feet, which would require just over 1,000 square feet of landscaping. They are shown for 1,250 square feet. Park requirement, as per the ordinance, is 1 space per employee plus others as determined by the planning commission. They are showing for 14 spaces for 2 courts, so staff believes that should be adequate. Handicap parking, 1 space is required, and they are showing for 1 space as well. The landscape plan shows a mixture of maple trees and shrubbery along the proposed Bunor Drive, which serves the interior of the residential development. A type C landscape buffer is shown adjoining the future single-family dwellings to the west and existing homes in the county to the south. Additional shrubbery is shown at the base of the building. Architectural elevations for this building are to be constructed completely of brick and glass glazing with a secondary material of metal panels. The first story and bottom half of the second story are entirely brick, with the upper half of the second story shown as metal panels and windows. Brick comprises 64% of the entire building, glass glazing at 26%, and architectural metal panels at 10%. As presented, this building doesn't meet design review. Standard comments 1 through 6 would all remain at this time. We had a couple staff comments. Comment 1 was more of a standard comment, but utilities and roads to serve this lot must be installed by the Newbury developer prior to issuance of a building permit for this development. And comments 2 and 3 were made by CUD and will remain at this time. But with that, staff would recommend approval with those comments.
Wait a minute, Mitch. So we have a commercial building here that meets design review, and we're not worried about what was done in another community or anything like that? We're just flat out meets design review?
In a nutshell, yes.
That's nice. Second thing, are you allowed to actually step into the kitchen when playing pickleball?
I have not brushed up on my pickleball rules since last time we spoke about this, so I'm not the expert to speak on that.
Could you have a presentation for us at the next?
Council meeting, I got you.
Thank you. No, better do it planning first.
We'll do the warm-up.
Might get in trouble at council. All right, any questions or, for Mitch or staff on this one? It's big,
Indoor pickle.
and it's indoor, which is fantastic. Yeah. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
I have a motion to approve from Matt. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Miranda. Further discussion? With staff comments, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Motion to approve with staff comments. I have and a second from Miranda. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Site plan is approved. We're next, on to our next site plan, which is Simply Southern Closets, 320 Q Creek Circle, owner, developer, Takedown LLC.
Yeah, this is a site plan for Simply Southern Closets. They are proposing to construct a retail sales and warehouse building at 320 Q Creek Circle. The building would be 6,410 square feet and would have 2 access points onto Q Creek Circle. Vehicular use area at the site has been slightly modified since the packets went out. Increased about 1,500 square feet or a little under that. We're looking at 19,447 square feet now, which would require 1,945 square feet of landscaping. Applicant is showing for over 3,000 square feet, so they are meeting that requirement. Total park required of 19 spaces, they're showing for 21, and that does require 1 handicap parking space, which is shown. The landscape plan shows trees and shrubbery lining Q Creek Circle with additional trees and landscape islands around the parking area. Architectural elevations show the building to be finished with a mixture of brick, siding, and glass glazing. The front elevation is entirely primary materials with brick and glass glazing. Both side elevations and rear elevation have over 70% siding, which would be a secondary material. Any elevation visible from the public right-of-way must have a minimum of 75% primary materials per design review. So for this reason, it does not meet design review as presented. Standard comments, 1 through 5, all remain at this time, and we had a couple staff comments that were addressed. Comment 1 is regarding just switching around some of the trees that were shown on site, and they have done that, so comment 1 can be removed. Comment 2 is about the architectural elevations. The elevations visible from public right-of-way, once again, are required to be at least 75% brick, stone, or glass glazing. This would also include the 2 side elevations. So the response from the applicant is that their intentions are to replicate another building that is shown on Q Creek already today, which I believe the applicant may already be located in at this time. So they're wanting to replicate that, but as presented, it would not meet design review. The building that they're requesting to replicate was built prior to this design review requirement, so that is the reason why it does not meet, and that we're asking them to meet design review as the staff comment. Comment 3, there was some confusion as far as accurate numbers presented on the site plan for the vehicular use area and landscaping square footages. Those have been adjusted and fixed, so comment 3 can be removed. And then comment 4 was a utilities comment. There was only 1 set of utility services shown, but there's 2 tenants for the building. The applicant is still trying to figure out if there's gonna be 2 tenants or 1 tenant for the building, and if there are 2 tenants, will be master metered, and they're still trying to figure all that out. So staff comment 2 and 4 will remain, and then 1 and 3 has been addressed. And then with that, staff to recommend approval with those remaining comments.
Questions for Mitchell?
The building they're replicating isn't attached to it though, like.
Correct. It's a couple parcels over.
They're aware they're not meeting the design.
Yeah, because they received the comments and saw, and this was the request of the architect and applicant that it be presented as such tonight.
Okay.
Is staff good with this, other than not meeting the elevation requirements? And could that be handled administratively if this were approved to bring it up to standard?
Sure, I mean, upon building permit submittal, we'll take a look at the elevations at that time, cross-reference it with the comments made tonight, and we can handle it with them at that time when those plans are submitted.
And that, of course, would be included within the staff comment that we have concerning the elevations. Other questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the staff comments.
I have a motion to approve with staff comments from
Second.
Miranda, and a second from Charles. Motion and second. Further discussion? All those in favor of approving this motion with staff comments, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion is approved. We are now on to item 3, TriStar Stonecrest Medical Center, OR expansion, 200 Stonecrest Parkway, owner, developer, Fulmer Lucas Engineering LLC.
Yeah, the hospital is proposing to build 2 additional expansions, a OR expansion attached to the existing building and a detached powerhouse addition. The OR expansion is to be 2 stories, totaling 18,209 square feet, and the powerhouse addition would be 2,765 square feet. The OR expansion will be located on the eastern side of the building, and the powerhouse building will be located on the southwestern portion of the main building. Vehicular for the use area for the site, 18.46 acres for the overall entire parcel. They're shown for 717 parking spaces. Existing today is 948, and they're showing for 939 upon completion. There is a couple spaces being removed as far as parking along where the existing sidewalk is located, where the new addition would be for the OR expansion as well as the powerhouse expansion. Some space will be removed, so that is the reason for the drop in the overall numbers, but still meeting our requirements as shown. The landscape plan shows a variety of shrubbery around the base of both additions and within new landscape islands. Multiple red maple trees are shown to be planted nearby the new buildings. Architectural elevations show both buildings to have a mixture of brick, stone, glass, glazing, and ephes. Proposed renderings would replicate the existing building materials so as to not look out of place. And the first floor is a mixture of brick and stone, with the second floor being primarily ephes. Standard comments, 1 through 5, all were made at this time. We had a staff comment for them to provide a list of and quantity of chemicals to be used in the facilities, more or less a fire and codes concern, just to make sure we're adequately making sure these buildings are safe. So they would provide that at a later time, but with that, all those comments will remain, and staff does recommend approval.
Okay, questions for Mitchell on this?
Essentially, what they're trying to do is match up what's already built there.
Which is similar to the other additions they've done in the past,
Right.
just bring it up so it looks, mirrors it.
Yeah, I think that swings back to what Amy was asking prior to, and what we've been consistent with existing buildings. Other questions or comments?
Well, I just think we should note how positive it is that they're continuing to invest in the facility and the community.
That's a great comment, Charles, because this is one of the reasons that people continue to move to Smyrna, that, makes them want to live here. I actually had a friend this past week that called me to ask me about Stonecrest, and he actually brought his mother from Nashville to receive treatment there, so speaks volumes. Okay, any other comments, questions? I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the staff comments.
I have a motion to approve the staff comments from Amy and a second from Mark. Further discussion? All those in favor of approving this site plan, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Site plan is approved with staff comments. We are now on to the September bond review report.
All right, and we have a shorter one this month. First one, Woodmont 8B. This is one we've only had for 1 year. They did request an extension on that, and we are okay with the 1-year extension there since we've only had it for 1 year. Addition to Village of Valley Green, Section 3, there's 3 or 4 just kind of minor items there. Talked with the developer on that. He's fully anticipating getting that finished up soon, and so we can, most likely we'll be able to release that one. And it's just an escrow account as well, so we're not having to look at a bank letter of credit. So once that one's completed, go ahead and release that one. Gwynn Farms 2A, this one, we have had this one a couple of years now. They're about 89% built. They responded they'll check on the items. We're hoping to get everything finished up soon, but they were going to check on, I sent them, they've already received the punch list. I went ahead and sent it to them. Still several items to finish up and clean up on that one. So, but would recommend a 6-month extension there. Bankside Section 5, Phase 2. This is a bond that we've had for several years. This is really just to try to ensure a secondary access gets built, and they're kind of working through and eventually getting an access a different direction. So they haven't built it yet. I'm okay with waiting on this one, extending this another year, because I fully anticipate this is going to get taken care of with the access to the west of it back to Kedron Church Road, with an improvement to Kedron Church Road, instead of extending it back from Bankside as a private road back to Morton Road. So we recommend a 1-year extension on that. Prologis South Park, this was a sewer bond, and they have finished that up, and we can release that one. And then Cedar Hills Section 4, Phase 1, they are hoping to pave this fall. So I would recommend a 6-month extension on that one to get them, hopefully they'll get that paved this fall. So that's what I have.
Okay, any questions for Kevin on the bond review report? Entertain a motion if not.
Move to approve the bond review report.
A motion to approve the September bond review report. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion. All those in favor of approving the September bond review report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The bond review report is approved. Staff comments.
Just one thing, just to remind everyone, we do have a special meeting on Tuesday at 3, a joint meeting with council to discuss some of the things that council's been talking about. Now, several of you have attended those meetings regarding some changes we're contemplating on PRD requirements and those kind of things. And so we will be, that meeting will be Tuesday at 3 here in Town Hall. So just a reminder of that. And the only other thing I have, because I have to say this anytime we can, fill out your special census if you haven't done so already. So,
Good job, Kevin. You got taught, somebody taught you to say that.
that's right. So, I think that's all I got.
Catherine? Jeff? Mitchell, anything? Pickleball? We good, Captain? Yes, sir. All right. Everybody's good? No further? Anything from the commission? We stand adjourned.